What if you knew the world would end in exactly 10 years? The Union of Eastern Kingdoms stands peaceful today, its sprawling cities bathed in golden light. But beneath this tranquil surface, 5 terrifying figures gather power. The 5 prime sins, each one destined to bring forth sins so catastrophic that everything will cease to exist. The explosion tears through reality itself. Boom! Energy erupts in brilliant cascades of light and chaos. The very fabric of existence trembles. And in the aftermath, silence. A desolate wasteland where kingdoms once thrived. This is how it ends. This is how everything ceases to exist. To prevent the apocalypse, one man made an impossible choice. Papers scatter like fallen leaves as he contemplates his mission. Silver-haired children, blue-haired outcasts, cat-eared misfits, all looking to him with desperate hope. He became their patron, their guardian, their last chance at redemption. Although, he didn't think it would get so out of hand. Meet Allon Palateo, former corporate drone, 78-hour weeks traded force. A fantasy world where he can't even read the local language. He squints at an ancient tome, utterly baffled. His servant delivers the crushing blow with deadpan precision. You're holding it upside down. Even as a noble, he's apparently illiterate and powerless. But the perks? Incredible. Dinner is served with lavish spreads that make his mouth water. Delicious courses followed by servants drawing his bath, attending to his every need. Wow, this is amazing. He marvels from his luxurious tub. Yet confusion gnaws at him. Where exactly is he? What world has he stumbled into? The maid mentions other young masters returning tomorrow, Leo and Tonio. Sleep early, she advises. But the name hits him like a thunderbolt. Young masters? The Palladio family? That sounds ominously familiar. His scarred face pales as realization dawns. Crack! The bathwater churns violently around him as panic sets in. Don't tell me, am I inside psychedelia? The realization hits like a freight train. It's the turn-based RPG he used to play during those brutal corporate days, squeezing gaming into whatever free time existed. And he knows how the story ends. No matter how you play, once the 5 prime sins appear, everything falls apart. House Palladio, merely a noble house of thugs, as the authorities claim. Leo in his pristine white suit, Tonio in casual wear, both masked, both dangerous. The subquest prompt mocks him. Investigate the creepy manor. He stares at the lavish courtyard in disbelief. This is a joke, right? But the ornate architecture around him says otherwise. Allon Palateo, third son of Count Palateo, sits alone in his shadowed room. Why'd it have to be him? A mere side villain, destined for exploitation and death. He'll be ground to dust in 10 years. This feels worse than corporate hell. A tear rolls down his cheek. How does a transmigrant have 0 privileges? But wait, he knows the game's plot. That's something. A desperate plan forms. Couldn't he just eliminate the source early? If the 5 prime sins are still children, maybe they can be reformed. Saved. Turned away from their dark destinies. They're young, moldable. It should be doable, right? 2 months later, he stares out his window, reflecting on his recent rescue missions from shadowy laboratories. Evan adjusts his harness, calm and capable. The young master praises his abilities, counting on him. But the boy frowns. Compliments are hard to read through that blank expression. Understandable, Evan admits. The flashback reveals a more expressive past, now replaced by careful emotional control. Trust doesn't come easily in this dangerous world. The raid targeted the Yuta girl. Evan's mercenary experience prepared him for many things, but nothing like what he witnessed. This child was different, unprecedented. The eye-patched man sweats nervously, knowing exactly what makes her so dangerous. In the prison's darkness, power radiates from someone far too young to wield such force. 3 broken figures huddle in chains. Among them, a girl with flowing white hair whose power defies her confinement. Allon can't understand why she chooses to remain captive. Why didn't you bring her? The question cuts deep. It may look like neglect, he admits, but leaving her untouched is part of his larger plan. Meet Udia Bloodia. Purple hair flows like liquid darkness as her monstrous grin reveals razor-sharp teeth. She's bloodborne, a race that binds with otherworldly entities for power. In 10 years, she'll become the sin of wrath, a ruthless killer claiming hundreds of thousands of lives. But with proper upbringing, maybe she can avoid that fate. It's not the right time yet. Evan's timing concerns puzzle his young companion. Secrecy and support for the orphanage must continue. The mission demands patience, careful orchestration, every move calculated, every child's future hanging in the balance. Understood, my lord. Trust becomes the foundation of their impossible undertaking. She suffered through horrendous experiments. The trauma runs deep, requiring gentle healing rather than force. Outside, hosts clip-clop as messengers carry urgent letters. But Allon remembers something crucial. A specific quote from the game that appeared during the Sin of Wrath arc words that might change everything. The Archbishop raises his golden staff with overwhelming authority. Oh, Sin of Wrath, settle yourself. Blood splatters across the chaotic scene as the white-haired girl writhes in agony. The moon looms ominously overhead. Her desperate cry echoes through the darkness. It's too late. But maybe, just maybe, it isn't. Slosh. The attack comes swift and brutal. Energy explodes in brilliant chaos. Crash. In regular gameplay, this approach fails spectacularly, triggering catastrophic battles. But it's still 10 years before that happens. The exhausted boy in green surveys the aftermath. 1 down, 4 to go. Befriending monsters through simple quotes? Ridiculous, but effective. Grasping the minds of fanatics proves impossible. The white-haired girl stands emotionless, clutching the letter. Her menace signature defies belief, an eerie child with no visible emotion. The eye-patch man reacts with visible alarm. You said Lord Allon sent this? The name triggers immediate concern. What power does that name carry? Why hasn't he summoned me? The question burns in the darkness. Only master-level practitioners can manifest such overwhelming mana. The boy with glasses stutters in alarm at the impossible power level surrounding them. Tea time. That's right. The pieces click together as red energy swirls ominously. The timing, it's everything. I see. Understanding dawns on the tall figure as chaotic energies swirl between them. This is a covenant only the true master would know. She whispers with desperate urgency. Cosmic forces align under the pink moon as deeper truths emerge. Visual guides everything. The connection transcends simple correspondence. This is about destiny itself. Meanwhile, Udia Bloodia cradles her doll, pink hair flowing like silk. The Queen of Blood, transformed by understanding. In Allon's moonlit room, satisfaction washes over him. Nothing like a productive day to enjoy this wonderfully lazy, noble life. Even the full moon cheers him on. Now it's time for the second target.
Night falls peacefully until tumble. A book crashes down. Ouch! Evan winces as it strikes his arm. Nearby, someone frantically searches through scattered texts. Dang it, is it really not here? The urgency is palpable. Young master, I've rescued the second child as commanded. The trafficking networks never saw it coming. Brothers reunited. Tonio swaggers into the study with that signature, smug confidence, suspenders stretched across his chest. Well, if it isn't Allon, he mocks his little brother's literacy efforts. An illiterate loser rummaging through books. How cute. The royal pain returns with his condescending charm. How did the original Allon tolerate this insufferable arrogance? Tension explodes into violence. The white-shirt figure retreats as chaos erupts. Crack. A dagger embeds itself in the wall with lethal precision. The distressed figure cowers on the ornate rug. A menacing presence looms, voice dripping with casual threat. I don't feel like drawing blood first thing in the morning. Both of you, get lost. Enter Allon Palateo. Immaculate in his light gray suit, he extends his hand with aristocratic authority. Big brother, scrub off that brothel stench before entering the study. It reeks of indecency. The insult cuts deep. Says the vermin reeking of his precious powders. Comes the sharp retort. Leave now, or I will make you. Sibling rivalry at its most venomous. Crash. Chaos erupts as figures rush toward escape. The smaller figure crawls desperately across wooden floors. If he hopes to live the dream, he absolutely cannot get involved with his brother's schemes. Determined to remain a feeble, incompetent, illegitimate child. A carefree life depends on staying powerless, on remaining invisible. Allon slumps on the couch, exhausted. Ugh. Tonio stands smugly beside him, refined and insufferable. That child was quite bizarre. He comments about recent trafficking victims. How does Tonio know about human experiments across different regions? The knowledge unsettles. He looks barely alive. Tonio observes with cruel satisfaction. Brothers, what a nightmare. Bizarre, you say? More like apocalyptic. The Carlian kingdom burns bright in his memory. Central figure of the Union, now connected to his rescue mission. The child he saved from trafficking? Deus Macalion, the second boss of psychedelia. Behind bars, desperate hands reach outward. Another future sin, now in his care. Sold into forced labor as child. Abuse everywhere he goes. Pale hands reach desperately through swirling purple energy. This broken soul will become the sin of sloth, decimating kingdoms in unimaginably horrendous ways. Slash. Splatter. The violence to come painted in blood and shadows. But maybe childhood trauma can be healed. The sin of sloth. A tireless worker who repays every grudge 100-fold. The game's most vengeful character, now sent away because the timing isn't right. The young man adjusts his controller, anxiety evident in his trembling expression. Suspicions confirmed about the second child. The pieces of his master plan slowly align across the brightening landscape. You there. The blue-haired figure emerges from the shadows, white outfit pristine in the dappled forest light. You're broken, aren't you? His words cut through the silence like a blade. I know who gave you those scars. The dark silhouette with white hair remains motionless. It's the work of the shadow goat, is it not? Congratulations. You have been chosen by the great moon. The white-haired girl's crimson eyes blaze with otherworldly power, purple robes flowing as pink energy swirls around her. Experience the power granted to you. Unleash what is yours. The anxious boy trembles before forces beyond comprehension. Unwavering loyalty is the price of vengeance. You'll get vengeance. Dark energy coils around the tattered figure as purple tendrils writhe with malevolent purpose. The white-haired messenger prepares her response, paper in hand. Now, then, time to write him my first reply. A simple greeting to begin their correspondence. Under the moonlit mansion, bonds of loyalty and revenge intertwine. Where the heck is the third boss? Panic erupts in the makeshift hideout as urgent news arrives. Lord Tonio is what? That douchebag is dead? Crash. The revelation hits like thunder. In the shadows, a contemplative figure processes this unexpected development. Already, the timeline accelerates beyond his predictions. The lavish funeral unfolds in ornate splendor. Your Grace, mourners gather around the flower-adorned coffin. When does this thing end? The dark-haired observer grumbles about boredom and hunger. Death came early and by accident. Even in dark fantasy, it's messed up. But every ending creates new opportunities for those patient enough to seize them. Leo cried like a pathetic fool about killing Tonio, and now look at that sinister grin. The tailored suit can't hide his barely contained excitement. He can't contain himself, definitely his handiwork. Well, whatever. Creak, clunk. A year passes. The game pieces shift. Only the 5' sins matter now. Succession secured. Leo controls the drug business. The manor finds relative peace. Purple sofas, warm sunlight, and afternoon tea mark this new era. Correspondence with Udia builds rapport, a calculated investment in their future relationship. The children seem like great kids, based on his reports. The list keeps growing. Progress exceeding expectations. About what you've been searching for. Really? Relief washes over his pensive features. The Intelligence Guild found a clue, some ancient tome
regarding the third boss. His hand rises to his chin in contemplation. Finally, here I come, third boss. What a delightful evening this is turning out to be. The pieces align perfectly. Ayak, blood spatters, splat. Margoth drug distribution zone becomes a battlefield. The eldest Palladios' generosity helped expand their squad to hundreds of members. But success breeds danger. And no, my hand, it's moving on its own. Panic spreads as control slips away. When puppet strings tighten, even the puppeteers become victims.
Help me. Leo's frantic plea echoes through the cobblestone alley. The sword-wielding figure shows no mercy. Tug. Uck. The blade finds its mark, stab. Estopug. Agony contorts his features as steel pierces flesh. Splash. Blood pools in the shadows. Another puppet strings, finally cut.
Once again, an excellent puppet show. The list of patrons grows longer with each performance. Purple threads dance between the dark-haired manipulator's fingers as he questions the meaning behind these actions. Is there any meaning? Why do you pity them? The white-haired observer asks. From their rooftop perch, the city sprawls below like a web.
No, they're filth who grind people to make drugs. But how does this help with revenge? Swoosh. The flowing-haired figure smirks knowingly. This builds a foundation for his glorious return. We can't welcome him to a place so unworthy of him. Can we? Dart. Understanding dawns slowly. Understand. Preparation for something greater.
May all things come to pass in accordance with his will. Vibrant energy streaks through the mystical expanse as supernatural forces converge. Flash. Brilliant light erupts, transforming the very air. Under the crescent moon's gentle glow, voices unite in declaration. We, the blue moon, shall be his sword. Destiny calls. Swish. Movement cuts through the desolate landscape like a knife. The spiral stone structure stands alone, surrounded by shadows and broken remnants of past conflicts. This forsaken place holds secrets and danger in equal measure. The blue-tinted wasteland stretches endlessly, a testament to battles fought and lost. Something approaches through the ruins. 2 years after becoming pen pals with Eudia, the elegant mansion gleams under bright blue skies. Huff, huff, where is he? Ewan searches frantically through grand hallways, his dark robe billowing. Groan. Clack. A door opens. Whoa, Ewan, you scared me. Relief and surprise mingle as master and servant reunite unexpectedly. Yeah, it's done. Exhaustion weighs heavy on the cloaked figure's shoulders. That's such a relief. His companion encourages rest after successfully retrieving 3 sins from various locations. The orphanage mission nears completion. But aren't you happy about it, young master? Sometimes the greatest victories feel like the heaviest burdens. Look, I'm smiling, he declares with playful mischief, finger pressed to his lips. Of course you are, comes the sarcastic reply. Under the bright sun, arms stretch lazily before flopping onto soft grass. Everything is going so smoothly, exceeding all expectations. But shadows loom ahead. The bosses of psychedelia became the 5 prime sins. How are things at the orphanage? Same as usual, going great. Shadowy hands reach out from traumatic pasts, but healing continues. The children used to seem like broken shells of their true selves, but they've brightened up quite a bit. Hope blooms where despair once festered. Recovery is possible, even for the most damaged souls. In the lush gardens outside their mansion, 2 figures reflect on their achievements. Eudia's leadership abilities impress them both. No caregivers needed. She's a pretty decent kid, managing others with natural authority. The letter contains positive updates about everyone's health and development. Under golden sunlight, hope and determination intertwine. But will it be enough to change fate itself? In gardens where flowers bloom with hope, 2 figures share a moment of profound reflection. The brown-haired man beams with pride as he watches the children flourish. But his shadowy companion carries a darker burden. When asked about meeting the children face to face, the truth cuts like ice. He never intends to meet them. Ever. The memories of what they became, the prime sins, still haunt him.
Under bright skies, determination burns in dark eyes. The young man contemplates his growth in this fantasy world, magic crackling around his fingers. 5 years. That's how long he estimates before he's truly ready. His companion watches supportively as magical energy swirls. But confidence wars with fear. Are the children really as safe as he believes? Or does darkness still lurk in their hearts? Blue's world shatters as reality crashes down. Energy crackles ominously around him as the robed figure speaks of a notorious organization, one that targets nobles without mercy. Blue's purple hair frames a face twisted with distress. He never heard of them in the game, but that means nothing now. The cloaked character's gloved hands grip a shimmering object as he delivers the final blow. Blue will be living with him now. The mansion glows against the night as Blue Moon's weekly briefing begins. The silver-haired leader with crimson eyes demands updates from the north. Her subordinate, a playful girl with animal ears, grins with disturbing glee. She plucked them all, she announces cheerfully. All the human traffickers' heads. Blood and brutality disguised behind innocent smiles. This is Blue Moon's terrifying efficiency.
In shadowed chambers, Renee's green hair catches the dim light as she reports her success. No traces left behind. Every corpse dissolved without evidence. Her self-satisfied smirk reveals a chilling efficiency. She had considered sparing lives based on eye color, but nobody guessed correctly. The blonde boy listens with casual indifference. Death has become routine for these children turned killers. On laboratory steps, stained with horror, the light-haired young man announces his gruesome work. He made mincemeat of the filth at the human experimentation lab, his expression smugly satisfied. As stars wheel overhead, a sinister figure with red eyes proclaims that all things shall come to pass as the great moon wills. The cultish devotion is absolute. They exist only to serve him. The woman in flowing red gestures like a dark enchantress. Under starlit skies, Blue Moon's white hair flows like moonbeams as tension crackles in the air. They discuss Avalon's head, the elder son of the moon's bearer. But there's a problem that threatens their perfect world. Blue Moon's red eyes flash with concern as she processes the disturbing information. The head of Avalon is targeting the great moon himself. A dangerous note confirms their worst fears. Dark revelations unfold as characters process the sinister plan. A note reveals the scheme. Once the elderly count dies, quietly poison the third. The blonde in orange understands the implications. Red colors explode across the scene as the white-haired figure's eyes blaze with intensity. So it's true, she declares. 2 years later, in a grand funeral hall, Count Paleo has passed away. The game of succession begins. In funeral's solemn aftermath, the gray-bearded elder delivers his unsettling report. Heart attack was the official cause, but the count was smoking drugs until his dying breath. The mention of Blue Moon sends ripples of concern through the gathering. A surprise raid struck last night. Most telling of all, no one mourned the count's passing. Empty footsteps echo through hollow halls.
In the elaborate hall, uncertainty clouds the air. The young master contemplates their next move as Leo prepares to officially become count in a year's time. But plans are already in motion. They must pack and leave immediately. The destination? Rod Mill, a small town south of the palatial estate. Change is coming whether they're ready or not. The grand halls will soon be empty. The confirmation comes with a box in hand. Yes, they're heading to Rod Mill. An aerial view reveals the quaint town's warm architecture nestled south of the estate. A watchful figure appears on the balcony as dramatic tension builds. The sound of GLAP cuts through the air. But then, the scene shifts to domestic tranquility, a sizzling plate of toast and eggs. Even in chaos, life's simple pleasures endure. Golden toast splashes into oil, creating a mesmerizing shimmer of normalcy. The dark-haired character, now wearing a chef's apron, reflects on finding himself back at the manor. Only 3 days have passed since everything changed, but confusion grips him as he grabs his head in distress. Why is he back in this depressing mansion? And why is it Leo's funeral this time? The cycle of death continues. In the dimly lit chamber, grim details emerge. Stab wounds directly to the heart. But who could be responsible? The brown-coated man stammers nervously as he tries to address the cause of death. The purple-haired character jumps in startled surprise, apologizing profusely for making eye contact. Fear permeates every interaction. Even murder. Yes, that's actually someone's name. Flees from confrontation. Through the grand hall filled with murmuring crowds, Evan walks beside the young lord. Has he found any information? The answer is ambiguous. Well, kind of. But then comes the accusation that changes everything. A troubled figure confronts them directly, asking if the young man is the mastermind who wiped out Avalon overnight. The weight of that question hangs in the air like a sword ready to fall. On luxurious couches in dim elegance, 2 figures debate their destination. Wouldn't a bigger city be better? But the companion's confidence blazes as he declares the truth. Rodmill is the final destination of his master plan. His smirk hints at schemes within schemes. The necessary measures have been taken. As shattered glass appears ominously in the final panel, we sense that nothing will ever be the same.
Through fractured reflections, a group gazes with determined eyes as they discuss saving the 5 prime sins from their misfortunes. The scene brightens to show a joyful picnic, laughter and camaraderie filling the air as they discuss innocent Rodmill. A quaint town with charming architecture stretches below. But the dark-haired boy sits pensively, his contemplative expression contrasting sharply with the cheerful atmosphere. There's a reason for everything, but some explanations cut too deep to share.
Intense conversation. The nervous young man insists it's the right choice, while trusting his companion completely. On a shadowy balcony, another figure contemplates murder with chilling calculation. Should he kill him or not? He had considered poisoning after father's death, but the target volunteered to leave. Sometimes the best-laid plans are derailed by unexpected cooperation. The rattle of a distant cart echoes through the night. Against ornate balcony rails, the dark-haired man taps idly while voicing his unease. Avalon's recent dealings haven't worked out, and something about their presence bothers him. His high collar frames a face filled with calculating menace. When he orders Almond to tail the carriage, the younger man's surprise reveals the deadly implications. Is this in order to kill? In their world, surveillance and assassination often blur together. The slick-back man's irritation flares as he declares that Almond never questions orders. But when a hooded figure asks what's going on, everything changes in an instant. Stab. The blade finds its mark as the man gasps in shocked pain. His plea of "why you?" dies on his lips as the hooded figure stands with sword drawn. How dare you betray me? Loyalty in this world is written in blood. Under the crescent moon's pale light, a partially hidden face admits to enjoying war games. Almond's excitement is palpable. It's been fun, he declares with disturbing enthusiasm. But darker forces are at work. The Crimson Moon has given them a creed to follow, and Blue Moon serves as the Great Moon Sword. The character with intense eyes delivers a chilling warning. Harm toward the Great Moon will not be tolerated. Celestial war is coming. Blood spatters as the blade moves with lethal precision. Slash! The figure in white grimaces from fresh wounds as his attacker declares they may act of their own accord. The dark-capped warrior states he's been waiting for those exact words. As the defeated man stumbles and falls, threatening that his subordinates will kill them, the response is chilling. Those fateful words have sealed the complete annihilation of all enemies. The dark-haired man's expression grows solemn as he reflects on the waste before him. Such a shame, he murmurs, since the great moon had given the fallen chance. The scene transforms as a massive celestial moon fills the sky, its presence both beautiful and terrible. Below, morning breaks over an elegant clock tower. A cheerful boy with tousled hair stretches joyfully, declaring it another beautiful day in Rodmill, heaven on earth. The contrast between violence and peace couldn't be starker.
Morning bliss fills the elegant dining room as the dark-haired boy happily devours his breakfast. His companion exclaims, "Yum," with genuine delight as they enjoy whatever they want. The boy even considers starting a toast shop. Such simple dreams for such complicated times. But when the servant arrives with a message, everything shifts. The drop plate signals the end of peaceful mornings. A dramatic D8 announces the return of Allon Palateo is requested. The Brahm period of heaven in Rodmill lasted only 3 days. Now, under elegant floral arrangements, dark-clad figures gather around a coffin in solemn ceremony. The long-haired man crosses his arms while the smaller figure appears deeply troubled. The accusation hangs heavy in the air. Is the young master the mastermind who wiped out Avalon overnight? His shocked expression reveals genuine confusion. What's wrong with him? He wonders. The answer might destroy him. In the opulent room, beneath glittering chandeliers, harsh truths are revealed. The young man slumps forward, his sorrowful demeanor reflecting the weight of accusations. His companion gestures with manipulative confidence, explaining how he's the only one benefiting from the situation. Leo's death, after they left the manor, creates the perfect alibi for the legitimate heir. The pieces of a deadly puzzle begin falling into place, whether he wanted them to or not. Where do I even start? The dark-haired man's frustration is palpable as he grapples with impossible circumstances. His companion lightens the mood with a playful tada gesture, but the conversation turns to the group eliminating criminals. Could be Blue Moon? Skepticism fills his voice. No organization could be powerful enough to wipe out a crime syndicate overnight. But Blue Moon leaves only one thing behind: a mark. The swirling darkness suggests their reach is deeper than anyone imagines. In dim shadows, they recall the total carnage left behind. The young man sighs heavily as he realizes why he's branded the scary mastermind with a swordswoman as subordinate. Meanwhile, in their secret meeting space, the white-haired girl in pink asks about traces while the green-haired girl glows softly. None, she confirms. The cat-eared blonde draws her sword with disturbing confidence. She left no traces either. Her casual mention of a mountain of bodies reveals the horrifying scale of their work. The door creaks open as a mysterious voice announces, "I'm back." The dark-caped boy emerges from radiant light, clutching a glowing staff as he reports on Avalon's remaining 468 members. His words chill the air. They cut them all down in half, following the boss's instructions perfectly. The white-haired accomplice grins with disturbing satisfaction as the leader declares it perfect. Success tastes sweet when measured in blood and precision. The plan moves forward flawlessly. The silver-haired girl's eerie smile grows wider as she reminisces about Avalon's fall. The criminal empire that once ruled the Asteria Kingdom was reduced to nothing in just 5 days. The desolate landscape speaks of total annihilation, shattered buildings and fallen soldiers scattered like broken toys. But when the hooded figure asks what she means, her document reveals their work isn't finished. More nobles connected to Avalon remain. The hunt continues. Under ominous shadows, the cloaked assembly gathers while House Alta's deep involvement comes to light. The pink-haired characters' flowing locks catch the dim light as resignation fills their expression. The tension builds to a crescendo as they prepare to speak words everyone already knows. Doom. The sound effect crashes through the scene like thunder. Their counterparts' serious expression confirms it. Confrontation is inevitable. The pieces are in motion. The confident young man assures his team they'll handle it quietly, his light hair catching ethereal blue energy. Beside him, the shadowy figure exudes serious determination. Swirling magical forces prepare them for action. The female character's flowing hair frames her determined expression as she speaks the inevitable words. Doom. The dramatic sound echoes their resolve. When powerful forces collide, silence becomes the deadliest weapon of all. The dark green-haired girl confirms they'll take care of it quietly, cosmic energies swirling around her like stellar winds. The silver-haired young man prepares for action, his cape flowing dramatically. An elegant girl with light purple hair sighs at the gravity of their situation. When asked about the Intelligence Guild, the cheerful blonde in brown dress provides crucial intel. They consider this incident unrelated to Blue Moon. Perfect cover for perfect crimes.
The silver-haired girl's sinister smile spreads as guild members discuss keeping the incident quiet. All guilds agree on maintaining the status quo. The dark-caped leader stands resolute while the blonde and green-haired girls appear anxious about the implications. The revelation cuts deep. The attacked individual's own family was behind the threat. As the ominous sword glints in the darkness, the warning is clear. This incident must never reach the Great Moon. Under the crescent moon's watchful eye, the silver-haired girl raises her sword as philosophical truth cuts through the night. A sword shouldn't think for itself, should it? The dark-cloaked boy instructs that Blue Moon must only act when commanded. The Great Moon knows everything. He emphasizes while the green-haired girl watches with concern. The younger blonde appears nervous as laughter echoes through the shadows. Even weapons have doubts. The dark-haired young man clutches his clipboard, announcing his understanding with military precision. The scene transitions to the ominous mansion as the truth is declared. Everything they do serves their master, the Great Moon. But in a distant room, a defeated figure slumps over scattered papers, pleading for mercy. "No more, please." The sound of defeat echoes through empty halls as even the mighty eventually break. The young heir sits disheveled among scattered papers, contemplating the unexpected deaths of his brothers. He hated them, yes, but they were supposed to die 6 years later according to the game's timeline. Thanks to their sudden demise, he inherited everything, and all the responsibilities he never wanted. When urgent servants knock at his door, carrying stacks of documents, he sighs in resignation. Noble life isn't what he dreamed. Doom echoes through the guild hall as anxious members wonder if their leader is angry. "I don't want to die yet," whispers one trembling voice. The young master works diligently, reflecting on how rumors of being a ruthless mastermind have finally motivated his staff. Suddenly, chaos erupts as devices spark and explode with fizzle and crackle effects. "I am truly stunned," someone declares as magical energy surges violently through the air. In his magical training room, the tousled-haired boy practices alone among glowing artifacts. Crackling electricity dances around his hands as he reaches second-tier magic in just 2 years, self-taught, no less. His older mentor emphasizes the importance of precise mana control. Despite feeling uneasy, the boy insists he has decent talent. His flashy spells might be attention-seeking, but in a fantasy world, even ordinary magic carries extraordinary weight. Electricity crackles around the anxious young man as he reflects on his initial thrill about magical abilities. His master plan will proceed at his own pace, but self-defense has suddenly become crucial. Standing in the dimly lit space with books scattered around, a terrible realization dawns. His internal monologue turns self-deprecating as he acknowledges his inadequate mana core. The glowing humanoid outline contrasts sharply with his feelings of inadequacy. The formal-dressed young man contemplates his minuscule mana core with deep disappointment, a shadowy figure looming behind him like his own inadequacy made manifest. But then he remembers there is a way around this limitation. His mood shifts as he sits in the warm-lit room with his companion, discussing an unexpected invitation. The ball? His astonished response reveals just how unprepared he is for noble society's expectations. Under sparkling chandeliers in Southern Asteria's grandest ballroom, the dark-haired young man in his Navy military outfit already feels exhausted. Elegantly dressed couples dance around him as he contemplates the seasonal ball where nobles gather to socialize. Despite his weariness, determination flickers in his eyes. He should use this opportunity to make friends among the nobility. But will his reputation as a fearsome mastermind help or hinder these social ambitions? The formal hallway becomes a stage for awkward encounters as the black-haired boy nervously greets others. His tentative hello quickly turns to yikes as imposing figures approach. The confident boy in blue and gold uniform and a composed girl in her majestic dress create an intimidating presence. Another character tries to lighten the mood, stifling laughter while advising not to take it personally. The boy's scowl suggests his pride is wounded despite his denials.
In lavish surroundings, the tousled-haired young man addresses unseen critics with defiant determination. He knows they might scorn him for lacking dignity, but he came prepared. His secret plan involves breaking prejudice barriers with awesome social skills practiced in private. The elegant woman in brown savors her wine's intriguing flavor and captivating aroma. His confident smirk reveals cunning beneath anxiety as glasses clink in the background, heightening the dramatic tension. In the ornate banquet hall, regret clouds the young man's features as he realizes his plan backfired. The nervous servant sweats profusely, clearly anxious about the situation's implications. When another character declares he'll tell his father to prepare something urgently and dashes away, his friend can only stutter in bewilderment. Chuckling observers comment on someone being extremely shy while discussing rare luxurious items. The atmosphere blends tension with subtle humor as social dynamics unfold unpredictably. The young man reflects bitterly on his notorious reputation. The Palateo name had become more infamous than he imagined thanks to the thug brothers he supposedly eliminated. Whispers follow him everywhere, making him everyone's number one person to avoid. So much for socializing. The striking red-haired woman with elegant tattoos observes as he decides to get some air. On the serene balcony, he breathes deeply, feeling the weight of reputation crushing his social ambitions.
Against the night's backdrop, the black-haired boy in his formal cape questions where everything went wrong. His troubled expression reflects deep contemplation until a polite voice interrupts. "May I speak with you for a moment?" Surprise flashes across his face as he gasps in recognition. Is someone actually approaching him first? As he nervously prepares to introduce himself, anticipation and tension fill the night air around this unexpected encounter. In a flower-adorned elegance, Loria Altea introduces herself as Duke Altea's third daughter. Her auburn hair flows gracefully as she stands poised in her green cloak and traditional dress. The dark-haired young man stares with intense curiosity, his sarcastic realization cutting through the night. Alta? Oh, I see how it is. The Altea family, known as the Rogues of the North. His sardonic observation proves prophetic. No one approaching him first would be normal. Confusion and distress cloud the young man's features as he questions why he doesn't remember this girl from the game. His wide eyes and furrowed brow reveal genuine shock at this oversight. The brown-haired girl with her floral adornment looks anxious yet determined as she declares she'll speak plainly. The urgency in her request for strength creates a foreboding atmosphere. Her revelation about being assassinated soon transforms the elegant setting into something far more dangerous. On the balcony overlooking the illuminated ballroom, the dire truth unfolds. The girl with elegant lace and floral accessories reveals she survived this far as the Duke's mistress's daughter, a precarious position that offers limited protection. The young man's concern deepens as he learns her sisters will soon target her life. The peaceful evening atmosphere contrasts sharply with the urgency of impending assassination. In this world of noble intrigue, family bonds often prove deadlier than enemy blades. Under the twilight sky, the black-haired boy reflects with regret. No wonder he never saw her in the game. She was already dead by then. When she offers to assist him with her powers, suggesting mutual benefit, his response cuts like ice. I respectfully refuse. His troubled expression reveals the weight of his own powerlessness. Even when she offers half the Alta estate as compensation, he remains resolute. False hope would be crueler than honest refusal. Sometimes walking away is the kindest cut of all. In the opulent ballroom, Loria Altea stands gracefully in her elegant green dress, her auburn hair adorned with delicate flowers. The dark-haired man beside her exhales deeply, his formal uniform bearing an insignia of rank. Despite the tension between them, Loria offers gentle encouragement. Good things will come your way, she promises. But a voice whispers from the shadows. Altea has approached the great moon. Dark figures convene in the shadows, their voices urgent with conspiracy.
A cloaked figure demands they inform the Crimson Moon about the fortune foretold. But another disagrees. That thing isn't connected to Avalon. The rest of the Altus will be eradicated, one declares coldly. As they focus on maintaining secrecy about a past incident, the girl in green listens. What terrible truth are they hiding? In the grand ballroom beneath glittering chandeliers, our dark-haired protagonist feels utterly isolated. Everyone's avoiding me like the plague, he realizes with growing anxiety. Then, a striking woman in a rich red gown approaches, her feathered headpiece catching the light. "Good evening," she greets with a bright smile. His heart leaps. Is this finally his chance to mingle with nobles?
The formal atmosphere continues as Lady Kyla, elegant with her red hair and fan, expresses disappointment. She expected to be approached first for conversation, her status commanding such respect. The nervous man recognizes her fame immediately. But beneath this social dance, darker forces stir. In the shadows of Asteria, three powerful factions emerge. Altea of the north, Palateo of the east, and the Gennonia family in the west.
Kalia reveals the truth behind her family's reputation. The Genonias aren't mere thugs, they're organized crime lords. A serpent coils around flowers, symbolizing beauty wrapped in danger. Our protagonist's anxiety spikes as he realizes his predicament. He desperately needs trustworthy friends, not involvement with an evil mastermind. But Kalia's beauty captivates those around her, making escape seem impossible. The red-haired woman smirks with cunning intent, suggesting they extend their conversation. The dark-haired man pleads desperately to be released, sensing watchful eyes upon them. Her confidence is unshakable as she reveals the rumors about him were true. In a bright ballroom filled with elegant guests, her menacing presence creates a stark contrast. What secrets has she uncovered? Nervous and sweating, our protagonist overhears fragments of a dangerous conversation. The Avalon incident is being contained, but something else troubles these cloaked figures. That thing has been watching the great moon, they whisper ominously. Two figures dash across the grand ballroom steps, their urgency palpable. A voice from above questions his confidence. The shadow they speak of, it fills him with dread. Deep in a lush gorge where towering rocks disappear into moss-covered darkness, two cloaked figures stand at the threshold of mystery. This is it, the place he's been searching for. It's daytime, yet the entrance looms eerily dark, as if light itself fears to enter. His true objective lies within. The labyrinth of whispers awaits, and he remembers how easily he found it in the game. Inside the mystical chamber, glowing blue inscriptions cover the floor like ancient secrets made manifest. After solving riddles in 8 different chambers, he stands before his reward, a rare artifact of immense power. The labyrinth gate towers before them, its intricate design more breathtaking in reality than any game could capture. His companion marvels at the careful craftsmanship, but something far greater awaits. The dark-haired man questions how his companion knew about this secretive place. The response is casual yet unsettling. He's been here often, despite his cheerful demeanor. "Don't joke around with that face," comes the sharp reprimand. A loud creaking sound shatters the tension, and suddenly the chamber fills with monstrous shadows and swirling darkness. The real danger has only just begun. In the eerie chamber, blood stains his fingertips as he holds his hand to his mouth, watching in horror. His companion remains unnaturally calm despite their precarious situation. A massive hand bursts through the wall with violent force. Crush, splat, debris cascading like deadly rain. It's ready to strike if they answer even one riddle wrong. How can anyone remain calm in such mortal peril? The dark-haired boy's confusion deepens as chaos erupts around them. Escary, followed by a thunderous crash. For years he's served his enigmatic master, yet mysteries persist. How does someone who never leaves the mansion know every inch of this deadly maze? His master hints at solving the riddle, but warns they must wait. All those inexplicable things turned out for the better. But will this? Standing in the lavish, final chamber with its golden inscriptions and intricate designs, he can barely contain his nausea. The trials nearly broke him. He couldn't bear to look at the horrors they faced. His companion sighs with concern, questioning what the young master plans next. But excitement cuts through the tension as they marvel at the grandeur surrounding them. This is the final chamber, and their destiny awaits.
His companion suggests taking the worthless black ring and leaving, but our protagonist clutches a golden emblem with pure exuberance. He's finally obtained a constraint, the true prize he sought. It seems simple with his guidebook knowledge. His companion reassures him the exit is safe, but a voice calls out, questioning if the young master truly understood the situation. Victory tastes different when you're unprepared for its consequences.
In the dim gorge, armored golems rise like ancient guardians awakened from stone slumber. Their rocky forms tower ominously, red eyes glowing with malevolent purpose. The dark-haired boy grips his sword, determination overriding fear. Unknown enemies are the worst kind, but he must protect his young master. His companion steps forward confidently, declaring his intent to engage. Pardon? Comes the confused response. Some battles choose their own warriors. Young master, we need to find an exit first. His guardian calls desperately as chaos erupts around them. Rumble, stomp. The very ground trembles under the weight of approaching doom. Debris cascades down like nature's judgment as his protector realizes the futility. Second-tier spells aren't strong enough for what's coming. But the young master raises his hand, wild hair framing his determined face. Some powers demand to be unleashed. In this moment of supreme concentration, he stands with unwavering determination. The word constraint echoes through the chamber as power gathers in his outstretched hand. Energy crackles, FWM, and the very air seems to bend to his will. The atmosphere becomes chaotic, reality itself straining under the force of his command. Dark swirls and fractures appear as he pushes the boundaries of what magic should allow. In the vast, nebulous space where reality blurs with possibility, a mysterious voice speaks. The remnant that carries on Iacula's grate will demand the two constraints be spoken. Our protagonist's expression shifts to surprise and unease. This wasn't in the game. Where the game had selection windows, reality presents something far more profound. A shadowy figure materializes, tendrils of darkness surrounding it. The true test begins now. The voice explains the true reward for clearing the labyrinth, constraint, a power that transcends normal limitations. He sighs, acknowledging how the voice makes everything feel terrifyingly real. His hands position for spell casting as he speaks the first constraint. Impose the absolute use of Bavilova's hand seals in magic. The swirling energies intensify around him. What do you want? The voice demands. The moment of truth has arrived. His answer cuts through the cosmic void with absolute clarity, the power to bend the laws themselves. The celestial voice booms approved, acknowledging his audacious ambition. The swirling patterns around him pulse with approval as he breathes heavily from the exertion. One more, he declares, his determination unwavering. Speak, the voice commands. He's glimpsed the power to reshape reality itself, and there's no turning back. With mystical energy swirling above his palms, he speaks the second constraint. Impose limited use of Baviloya's utterances in magic. The glowing orb pulses with restricted power, a deliberate limitation that paradoxically grants greater control. What do you hope to gain? The answer is simple, the same. A shadowy figure with serious eyes watches from the darkness, understanding the weight of what's being forged. Power without restraint is chaos. Power with constraint is mastery. Doubt creeps in as he holds the mysterious object. Did I mess up? He copied the skill icon perfectly, chose hand seals and utterances to maximize his magic attack. His gaming knowledge runs deep. Every hand seal, every utterance memorized through countless playthroughs. This has got to work for me, he thinks desperately. Approved echoes through the space, validation washing over him like a warm embrace. Sometimes preparation really does meet opportunity. The cryptic phrase about carrying forth his will puzzles him. What does it mean? His eyes widen in surprise as understanding begins to dawn. The shadowy figure declares the ring is getting absorbed, confirming success. But the ominous promise chills him. I shall be watching you always, one who bears his will. Stomp stomp echoes as a menacing armored figure appears, while his companion desperately calls about second-tier spells. Some victories come with eternal surveillance. The hulking creature with its glowing chest emblem roars that weapons are useless against them. Our protagonist grips his sword with growing doubt, electricity crackling faintly around his hand. Lightning is supposed to be flashy and dramatic, yet his magic appears disappointingly weak despite channeling all his mana. More training won't fix this fundamental limitation, but perhaps raw power isn't the answer he needs. Standing confidently with a glowing blue orb of energy between his hands, he declares it's time to put the constraints and boosts to the test. The magical lines swirl around the pulsing energy as shadowy figures with glowing red eyes lurk in the background, their presence threatening. His stern features show absolute determination. He's ready for whatever challenge awaits. The orb pulses rhythmically, reflecting the gravity of this moment. To the test. It's useless, he insists, but then pauses with fascination. The ring still feels present on his fingers somehow. The sensation is remarkable, almost supernatural. Now comes the true moment of reckoning. Time to put the constraints and boosts to the test, he declares with growing confidence. His focus intensifies as he prepares to unleash the power he's carefully cultivated. The swirling energy responds to his determination. Energy streams around him in brilliant blue cascades as he channels power with intense focus. His dark jacket flutters as he commands bend, the glowing orb responding to his will. Fwoosh, swish, the sounds of energy manipulation fill the air as he adjusts his stance. Launching the orb skyward, he calls rebound, electricity crackling through the atmosphere. BZT echoes as the power builds to its crescendo. The constraints aren't limitations, they're amplifiers. His arm rises as brilliant energy erupts in a spectacular flash. The atmosphere crackles with electricity, BZT, as he unleashes cobalt luster, the spell's name echoing through the charged air. Blue lightning dances around him, illuminating his determined expression. Crackle fills the space as electric arcs surge with unprecedented power. This isn't the weak magic he feared. This is something magnificent. The constraints have transformed his abilities into something truly extraordinary. Diffraction pierce, he commands as energy crackles around him in vibrant blue streams. BZT fills the air as he focuses his power, every gesture precise and controlled. His wrist flicks with practiced motion, whoosh, and the lightning erupts forth with devastating force. Crash echoes through the space as the energy blast reaches its target. The spell's components work in perfect harmony, each movement amplified by his constraints. This is magic at its finest. Electric energy pours forth in brilliant blue and white streaks, the raw power more intense than ever before. His eyes widen in absolute shock. His mouth opens in disbelief as BZT after BZT of electricity surges around him. This isn't the weak magic he expected. The constraints haven't limited his power. They've transformed it into something beyond his wildest gaming experiences. Reality has exceeded even his most optimistic expectations. Blue streams of electricity intensify around him. BZT crackle as the energy reaches critical mass. A brilliant flash erupts, followed by the thunderous blast that sends debris and energy fragments scattering in all directions. The battleground trembles under the force of his unleashed power. What started as doubt has transformed into a display of magical mastery that defies everything he thought he knew about his own limitations. The explosion reaches its crescendo, boom, as massive bursts of energy radiate outward like stars being born. Crack, grumble echoes through the rocky terrain as electric arcs dance through the aftermath. His companion, watching in absolute awe from behind his golden emblem, can only stammer in disbelief. This is nuts. The constraints haven't weakened him. They've unleashed something that transcends normal magical boundaries. Even he didn't expect this level of raw power. In the cave's dim aftermath, his companion questions whether he's been hiding his true power all along. No way, comes the confused response. That really was just second-tier magic. His mercenary companion, with 15 years of experience, has never witnessed anything like this devastating display. The young master appears genuinely bewildered by his own abilities. What he expected to be game mechanics have become something far more profound in this reality. He reflects on the mechanics that made this possible. Psychedelia's turn-based system allowed him to use 4 utterances and hand seals to boost chain lightning for 5 turns worth of power. The heads-up display shows a 10% attack boost as he strategically activated the area of effect setting for his lightning magic. What seemed like simple game mechanics have translated into devastating real-world applications. Strategy and knowledge triumph over raw talent. Standing heroically amidst swirling blue energy, he offers gratitude to the forgotten great god for allowing him to carry forth his will. His companion, shocked and confused, can't believe the overkill from what should have been a simple second-tier attack. Phew! The exhausted mercenary sighs as they transition to a peaceful, sunlit landscape. That felt more tiresome than an actual battle. Sometimes overwhelming success can be more draining than desperate struggle. Beneath a blue sky dominated by a massive domed structure, our confident protagonist stands hands on hips while his tired companion sits, pondering. Who built this greedy place? The casual response mentions a buddy named Falun as the architect. Let's head back east, the determined leader decides. His companion, despite fatigue, has kept pace admirably over 3 miles. Their camaraderie deepens as they prepare to pursue their next goal together. In the dim cave, his companion marvels at the inner drive hidden beneath that unassuming appearance. The conversation shifts to magical theory. Hand seals compatible with magic types grant bigger power boosts, while the right utterances enhance skill properties. In the game, only numbers changed while graphics stayed the same. But in this reality, each utterance causes visible transformation to the magic itself. His tiny mana core might affect his unique perception. He contemplates testing his magic again once his mana fully recovers, satisfied with their successful journey. The moonlit forest towers quietly around them, tall trees creating natural sentinels. Suddenly, rustling in the canopy breaks the peaceful silence. Someone with long hair and striking green eyes watches them intently from the shadows. Dart, something moves swiftly through the air. Their triumphant return may not be as private as they assumed. In the cavernous space, illuminated by blue glyphs of the ancient Allon Empire, voices from forgotten eras echo. Stories of the outer deity's time and the friend doomed to be forsaken, the coward Falun. A girl with long green hair appears, her dark hooded jacket barely concealing her concern as she taps her fingers against the glowing stone. Ah, she breathes, recognizing something significant. The past refuses to stay buried. The great Falun is revealed in vibrant illustration, a figure raising a sword, radiating divine light. The mysterious character explains their knowledge comes from being called to great purpose, gifted with the archive of antiquity. Floating books surround them in this mystical revelation. The dark-haired boy contemplates this connection. A buddy named Falun built it. The casual reference now carries profound weight. Sometimes the greatest powers hide behind the simplest words. The white-haired figure in flowing red reflects on depths they never imagined. The great Megan was Falun's esteemed friend. Queen Blonda rests in history's annals, but this connection transcends known records. The utterances whispered aren't found even in the archive of antiquity. Our protagonist stands alone in a serene forest glade, the revelation's weight settling upon him. He is unfathomable, they conclude. Some mysteries run deeper than any archive can contain. Everything the Crimson Moon said was true, someone realizes with growing clarity. The girl with long gray hair feels ashamed. She's been following orders blindly, never questioning their true purpose. A cloaked figure emerges from the moonlit forest, asking if any information was gathered. "You're here," she acknowledges. "No," comes the disappointing response. Some truths are harder to uncover than others, and failure carries its own heavy price. A voice declares with finality, "The man in black has died." A pale hand with strange markings grips instinctively as a deafening crack suggests violent conclusion. The head was twisted. The figure with long dark hair maintains calm composure despite the grisly scene. "I should report this before cleanup," they state matter-of-factly. Above them, the crescent moon hangs in the ethereal night sky. Dart. Someone moves with urgent purpose through the darkness. At the Gennonia Manor, framed by ornate windows and twilight vines, a red-haired woman in elegant purple speaks ominously. "It wasn't just a rumor," she declares with seductive intrigue. The man with dark, slicked-back hair possesses chilling emptiness in his eyes, an expressionless void that speaks of hidden depths. Count Gennoa is indeed famous and powerful. Creak echoes through the manor, as if the building itself responds to their dark conversation. The red-haired woman expresses skepticism. "He called me famous despite my isolation from other nobles." Her commanding presence fills the elegantly decorated room as she faces the man in formal black and red attire. "You are the Count." "After all," he responds with a slight smirk. Her fingers snap decisively, drawing attention to a sudden shift in the atmosphere. Blur drop. Something dramatic unfolds as tension escalates. The game within the game grows more complex. The man leans over the table with malevolent intent. Nobody should know he's turning his target into a mindless puppet. Lady Kalia smirks with paranoid cunning, questioning how someone discovered their shadowy operation. There are watchful eyes around them. She realizes with growing unease. He seemed aware of the surveillance she placed on him. A military-styled man rushes toward her in alarm. "Lady Kalia?" The web of deception tightens around them all. "What's the matter?" Lady Kalia demands as her subordinate frantically insists she must come to her chamber immediately. A shadowy figure in stark white sits slumped in the corner. Nguyen emphasizes the ominous presence. Her smirk reveals cunning satisfaction. "So he does know. They put him in my chamber on purpose," she realizes. "We've barely met, yet he has me by the throat already." The chess match has begun in earnest. Her elegant purple gown catches the light as the scene shifts to a dark-haired character sleeping peacefully, his hair disheveled and innocent. Meanwhile, golem soldiers scratch their heads in confusion, their armored forms looking almost comical in their bewilderment. The night view reveals the Alta estate glimmering under moonlight like a jewel. A woman with long brown hair and green dress reflects thoughtfully, "As I thought, he is not an ordinary man." The red-haired character with piercing red eyes recognizes the same cold stare that marked their father, an indomitable figure of the underworld. "I must never cross him," they resolve with fearful respect. "He was my last hope," another admits with growing desperation. "But someone with so much to lose won't engage in risky deals. After all, my cowardly siblings have stripped away all my assets and powers." Desperation breeds dangerous decisions. Standing before the grand, ominous mansion, Loria despairs about her reliance on her father's mercy and affection. Her long silvery hair catches the dim light as she contemplates her helplessness. "What can I do now?" she wonders desperately. Suddenly, a loud creaking sound disrupts her anguished thoughts. The door bursts open with violent urgency as a panicked voice cries out, "Lady Laura." Her peaceful contemplation shatters as crisis arrives at her doorstep. What devastating news shatters the night? A trembling messenger bursts into Lauria's chamber with words that defy belief. Lady Pyron and Lord Keeg, dead by their own hands? But these were the cruel siblings who backstabbed without hesitation. The red-haired woman's eyes widen in shock. Something doesn't add up. Terror spreads like wildfire through the estate. What happened to Tamalian and Marianne? The dark-haired woman's scream pierces the air as blood splatters paint a horrific picture. Bodies lie motionless in the purple-shadowed corridor. The blonde woman unconscious, or worse. Every heir is falling one by one. Confusion grips the survivors as shadows move with deadly precision. A white-haired assassin darts through moonlight with inhuman speed. The sound of steel cutting air, then silence. Mission complete. But what mission? And who orchestrated this night of blood? The pieces click into place with chilling clarity. Lauria gasps as she realizes the truth behind the massacre. Allon Palateo, the true mastermind who kept his talents hidden until this perfect moment. He seized power while his family tore each other apart. This was his plan all along. Overnight, everything changed. The red-haired woman stands trembling in the mystic chamber, now the sole heir to immense power. But her hands shake as she whispers the truth. She's made a deal with the devil. There's no turning back now. Too many have betrayed him and paid the price. 2 months pass in the blink of an eye. At a mountain mansion, an unexpected delivery arrives, a gift from Duchess Alta herself. The servant's eyes widen at the expensive wine. But why would the Duchess send such a lavish present? What game is being played here? The young man stares at the note in disbelief. Laura, the feeble sheep among wolves, is now the Duchess. How did the weakest sibling survive when all the others fell? His shock is written across his face as the impossible truth sinks in. In the shadows of her father's office, a room she was never allowed to enter, Duchess Laura reflects on how quickly 2 months passed. The perfect alibi at the ball. The convenient elimination of her secret organization by her own siblings. Every piece fell perfectly into place. She admits her vulnerability. She had no real power to speak of. But when that mysterious man turned her down with cold nonchalance, he still dealt with everything impeccably afterward. How many moves ahead does he see? What game is he really playing? The elegant hall echoes with calculated thoughts. He helped her because he needs the Altias for something. Despite merging all organizations under her control, she's probably still far from his true power. House Palladio, there's something else he wants from her. Chess pieces scatter across the board as the young man contemplates the Altia family's influence over the kingdom shadows. The political landscape shifts with their every move. Meanwhile, Laura prepares herself in the hallway, waiting for divine guidance from her mysterious patron. In her luxurious office, Laura hopes her thank-you gift will be appreciated. But questions swirl around her miraculous rise to power. Didn't she say she was going to be killed? How is she the Duchess now? Something about this whole situation feels wrong. A few months later, snow blankets the mountain mansion. 5 years before the game begins, a dark-haired young master walks through his inherited domain. The succession ceremony never happened, yet after a year, the title of Count has become his burden. He never planned for this life. In the mansion's library, sealed letters change hands while dark business unfolds. The investigation into Leo's killers has yielded nothing. The Intelligence Guild finds only shadows. They discuss the butterfly effect of their actions, complications spreading like ripples through their carefully laid plans. Leo opens another letter from the orphanage, his heart warming at the updates. Renee pores over books while making time for play. Radlon has taken up gardening. These monthly reports fill him with paternal pride for children he's never met. They're thriving under his care. The conversation turns to the 5 prime children's ages. They're nearly ready to enter society. Some have already moved out. These children Leo specifically ordered rescued are approaching adulthood. The time for sheltered innocence is ending. What comes next?
In a luxurious room, Leo reassures his companion that the young adults are now self-sufficient after careful guidance. He gathered them when they were sick, vulnerable, but now they're healthy, capable. He took good care of them to prevent their dark destinies. They should be safe, right?
Visions of Raiden's divine gift fill Leo's mind as he excitedly plans their futures. If he assigns them a post where their gifts can shine brightest, maybe they'll lead bright lives. Papers tumble around him in his enthusiasm. His companion gasps at the sudden chaos. The sunset paints everything in golden hope. Leo declares he'll be right back, gesturing confidently as he walks away. A mystical voice commands its children to take letters and spread their wishes across the world. In the shadows, the recipients gather. Unlike before, each has received individual instructions. Their time of preparation is over. In the dimly lit chamber, they process their new reality. Individual letters, individual missions. The blonde girl twirls with nervous excitement, while others contemplate the weight of their separate paths. The white-haired leader confirms what they all sense. Everything has changed.
Eli then holds up the precious correspondence as tension fills the room. Only she read his letters before. Now he's entrusted them all with individual instructions. The blue-haired member voices their collective anxiety. Can they really handle direct communication with their patron? The mission details hint at dangerous work ahead.
Questions about security and communication methods arise, but the response chills them to the bone. Have they forgotten their place? They are followers. They exist only to obey. The cold finality of those words settles over the group like a shroud. Excitement builds as they prepare to read their new orders. Calaba, the nation of knights, the desert kingdom of Colon, ran the city of entertainment. Each destination promises different challenges, different roles to play. The world awaits their individual missions. The silver-haired leader ensures everyone understands their tasks. Night Orders presents waiting at destinations, support promised for their journeys. But then comes the crucial warning. Blue Moon must never be mentioned unless their patron brings it up first. The rule that could mean life or death. The scene shifts from the tense chamber to peaceful sunlight filtering through leaves. The silver-haired woman's serious expression gives way to serene outdoor spaces where figures in dark cloaks walk toward an uncertain future. The calm before the storm of their separate journeys. 3 months later, Leo sits frustrated at his cluttered desk, unable to find magical references in ancient texts. His investigation into Leo's assassins has stalled completely. The Intelligence Guild turns up nothing. Even Laura, who should have died early, became Duchess instead. The timeline is shifting. Leo makes a chilling decision. Stop investigating the assassins. Not knowing is a blessing when dealing with people who stay off everyone's radar. He started the search as precaution, but if it gets him killed, he wants no part of it. Some mysteries are too dangerous to solve. If he doesn't approach them first, they have no reason to harm him. Leo shifts to brighter news. Deus has been knighted in Caliban. 3 months pass, and more incredible updates arrive. Deus has formed his own order of knighthood. Success beyond all expectations. Sitting in the sunny park, Leo processes shocking news. Deus is above expert level already? Master Knights are the legendary swords of Caliban, superhuman warriors. 6 months later, the reports grow even more incredible. Deus's natural talent defies all expectations. Leo's eyes widen in his modern office as earth-shattering news arrives. Deus has been promoted to one of the 5 swords of Caliban, a Master Knight. But aren't only sword masters supposed to hold such positions? The sword masters are literal superhumans. What has Deus become? Visions of legendary warriors fill the air, muscular titans with supernatural abilities. Deus isn't technically a sword master yet, lacking the derivation ability. But he defeated the 4th sword in combat and earned the title anyway. Caliban needed to replace a master knight lost to northern barbarians. Mastering mana control takes years of dedication. Reinhardt, the first sword, became the youngest master knight ever at 32 after wielding a blade since childhood. Even with ridiculous talent, it took him over 20 years. Yet Deus achieved comparable status in just 1 year. Impossible unless... Leo's mind races with the implications. If derivation is Deus's only missing piece, he could surpass even Reinhardt as a sword master. Maybe Leo will receive thanks for this incredible outcome, or maybe not. The pile of letters on his desk reminds him how little gratitude he receives. Leo admits feeling hurt by the children's lack of gratitude for his gifts. His friend playfully slaps his back, urging him to snap out of his gloom. Standing by the window, bathed in sunlight, Leo finds comfort in knowing the children are doing well. At least he prevented them from becoming world-destroying monsters. In the grand castle hall with colorful stained glass, muscular guards stand ready as Deus laughs softly to himself. His elegant coat and confident demeanor mark him as someone of importance. Then a joyful voice calls out, "Brother!" A woman in flowing white rushes toward him. Recognition dawns in his eyes. Deus smirks with confidence, but his thoughts turn dark as he remembers the past year. He feels shame for the friends he lost to shadow creatures, those dark ones that took everything from him. Only unbridled anger and boundless hatred remained when the darkness consumed his world. An ethereal girl extends her hand, offering a glowing crystal amidst swirling shadows of rage and hatred. The scene shifts to a thin young man in a dim cell, contemplating his unworthiness. The great moon rescued him, but that alone wasn't enough to earn his complete allegiance. A boy stands in awe before a figure in flowing white hair and dark robes, a being of immense power. The scene shifts to Deus reflecting on years of dangerous blue moon missions, driven by the promise of revenge. He didn't care about his safety, only building strength to confront the Dark Ones someday. A dismissive letter reveals contempt for meaningless presence, but the great moon had prepared something unexpected. A cloaked figure stands at a mysterious door, wondering what they're supposed to find. Then surprise strikes, blonde hair, wide eyes, and the emergence of an incredible gift from their patron. A gentle hand reaches out in the soft light as connection forms with a gentle clasp. The boy with messy purple hair clings desperately to the dark cloaked figure, tears of relief streaming down his face. He thought he'd lost this person forever. Against all odds, they found each other again. Tears cascade down Deus's face as he clings to his sister in the softly lit room. Shelley, her warm eyes and gentle smile answer his desperate cry. After their separation, he feared the worst. Now she's here, alive, and his world has light again. But what happened to her during their time apart? Shelley recounts her nightmare, taken by those things, waiting in absolute darkness among stacked cages like cattle for slaughter. Where a turn came to die, terror filled the shadows. Screams echoed through the darkness as death approached. But something intervened at the last moment. A violent smack echoes through the darkness. The purple-haired figure in flowing white recalls escaping with mysterious light, barely surviving. When child traffickers nearly claimed her, something powerful intervened again. Finish. The word hangs in the air as dark forces swirl with deadly intent. Steel sings through the air, slash, whoosh, slice. A dark-cloaked warrior executes perfect strikes while the girl with bobbed hair sits vulnerable on the ground, mixing fear with admiration. The battle ends with a definitive ring of metal. A mercenary named Evan saved her from certain death. In their cozy room by the fireplace, Shelley reads a letter promising continued support, medicine and gold from their mysterious benefactor. Deus acknowledges owing his life to Allon, showing his vulnerability. But the deepest question haunts them both. How did the Great Moon know everything about their situation? Deus has never spoken about his history or family trauma, not even to Euthan, who only knew he suffered at Shadow Goat's hands. So how does this mysterious patron know such intimate details? The white-haired figure's red eyes gleam as he declares, "The great moon knows everything." Puzzle pieces float in the darkness as understanding dawns. Deus never grasped Euthan's anxiety before. A sword shouldn't think for itself. But now he sees the truth. He was the fool all along. Those prophetic words about good things coming his way, even the prediction about the Altea girl being the last one standing. Tears trailed down Deus's cheek as he realizes the sword moved of its own accord, or rather, guided by mercy from above. The great moon overlooked his independence with divine patience. Now he stands with impressive power radiating around him, his weapon gleaming with mystical energy. Understanding has transformed him. At the wooden table, Deus reflects on years spent breeding hatred and vengeance against Shadow Goat. But this unexpected reunion with his sister transcends mere gift-giving. It's a true miracle. Meanwhile, the white-haired girl's cryptic words echo. "You will soon realize why I am wholly devoted to the great moon." She wasn't a religious fanatic, Deus realizes as he stares with piercing blue eyes against the cosmic backdrop. His mission crystallizes with absolute clarity. Rise to the upper echelon of Caliban by becoming a master knight. He must repay the grace shown to him. The eclipse overhead signals his transformation is complete. The moment has arrived. In the shadow-draped halls of power, a captain's voice cuts through the silence. The preparations are complete. The dark-armored leader stands motionless at the Gothic window, moonlight casting an ethereal glow across his cape. Behind him, soldiers wait in perfect formation. The air thrums with anticipation. Something monumental is about to unfold. The Order of the Solar Eclipse stands ready. Dark uniforms gleam with blue highlights as they prepare for their expedition north. This will be their stepping stone to greatness. A jeweled sword catches the starlight as its wielder raises it high, a figure with striking purple hair radiating power. His challenge echoes across the night sky. Prove your worth before the moon. Adversity awaits, but so does glory. Snow-capped mountains stretch endlessly as the Order heads north to battle barbarians. But here, in this peaceful courtyard, Leoric sits against stone walls, savoring the tranquility. The children have all grown up now. A gentle breeze stirs, then chaos. Books scatter, and pages dance through the air as wind catches them. He lunges forward, grasping at the floating papers with startled urgency. Leoric hunches over his cluttered desk, pens scratching furiously across parchment. His notes are scattered, disorganized, a reflection of his racing thoughts. He grimaces at his own handwriting, vowing to be more methodical. Page after page of research on utterances fills his workspace. The sound of scribbling echoes through the study until finally, satisfaction. Done, at least for now. Magic crackles to life around Leoric's outstretched hand. His dark cloak whips in the mystical winds as he channels energy into existence. Cobalt luster, a spell that strengthens lightning magic, bending projectiles to his will. The air itself seems to bend and warp as raw power flows through him. This is no mere academic exercise. This is the culmination of months of dangerous research. Leoric scratches his head, absorbed in ancient texts. Diffraction Pierce, a spell capable of critical damage, but the knowledge came at a cost. With his small mana core, he can only cast once per day. Every experiment was precious, every failure devastating. The forbidden utterances of Babylonia were meant to be forgotten by history. No wonder the research took forever. 2 months of research culminate in this moment. Leoric stands in the courtyard, magical or pulsing with gathered energy in his palms. Lightning arcs between his fingers as he prepares to test his theories. Learning magic was fun, he admits, but now comes the real challenge. Eliminate the center of mana. Create lightning from the resulting imbalance. His heart pounds with anticipation. In the open field, Leoric begins his incantation. This feeble, pointless spell but wait. As he speaks, each command, clamp, compress, the energy responds. Purple and green swirl in mesmerizing patterns. What once seemed meaningless begins to take on purpose, little by little. The final word falls from his lips, collapse. The orb trembles on the edge of transformation. The utterances flow like ancient poetry as Leoric channels everything into this single moment. A moment's full bloom. The phrase carries weight beyond its simplicity. Energy crackles around him, sparks illuminating his determined features. His faint smile betrays the confidence growing within. This spell, it's working. The magic responds to his will, bending to the forgotten words of power. Barum. The world explodes in electric blue lightning. Energy surges and crackles, twisting through the air in impossible patterns. Raw power builds to a crescendo, arcing wildly in every direction. This isn't just magic. This is something far more dangerous. The very air seems to scream as forces beyond normal comprehension tear through reality itself. Boom! The courtyard erupts as electric energy tears across stone walls. Leoric watches in amazement as his spell succeeds beyond all expectations. So the order of utterances matters, a crucial discovery nearly lost to failed attempts. When he tried collapse first, nothing happened. But now he's unlocked something that should have remained buried in forgotten history. This is impossible. The words escape Leoric's lips as reality shifts around him. But he's not alone. A red-haired woman in dark robes gasps in recognition. Is this Origin? The man beside her shares her alarm. Advanced magic, they whisper. But what is Kalia doing here? Leoric's blood runs cold as he realizes the magnitude of what he's just unleashed. Me? Leoric's voice barely whispers as the gray-haired figure in the elegant suit steps forward. What a fine talent. You're mine now. The words hit like chains, binding him to a fate he never chose. In the grand halls of Caliban, the kingdom of knights, talent belongs to the crown. All for the great moon, he thinks, as the weight of his discovery crushes down. There's no escape from what he's become.